everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Casino Business Podcast. I'm your host, Craig Shacklett, CEO of URComped. And today we've got Jim Sulima, Director of Player Development at Rocky Gap Casino. Jim, thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure.
So, Jim, we're talking offline about inactives. I think you had some great points. So I'd like to, make this a topic today is reactivating inactive guests. There's a couple components of it. One, it's, hey, what are you saying to them when you get them on the phone? Like, how are you actually getting them to take a trip? And then the second part, which we'll get to later, is like, how do you cover your risk? Because you don't know if they were just going nuts on PPP money during COVID, and that's why they look like a big player, or maybe they still are a big player. So why don't we start with inactives? How do you identify which ones to go after, and then your attack plan?
So I think the most important thing when we're talking inactives is defining exactly what an inactive is to you. For my database and where I'm at, 13 months is our inactive number. Now, that could be different depending on the market. If you're in a super local market, it could be 90 days. If you could be in a destination, it could be 24 months, but really understanding what an inactive is to you. But for the sake of me, it's 13 months. So when I pull these lists and I have my host team reaching out to them, it's okay, guys, we understand that they do have play with us. We want to make sure that these players are legitimate to what their last trip was. So one of the best things is you got to get them on the phone. Emails work great, texts are great, but the most important conversation is definitely on the phone. And you got to ask, hey, have you been playing? We miss you. Have you been playing anywhere recently? At that point, you're able to gauge if they're still active as in gambling. If they say yes, great. Where are you playing at? They're going to give you a couple locations. The easiest way to find out if they're still playing the same level that you have your rating on is, hey, I saw back then, it looks like now this, it's important to know your casino math, which we spoke about in the past, average bet in time. Oh, it looks like you played with us for 4 or 5 hours. Average spin was $1.50. Was that at your last casino with the last trip? So you want to kind of define their theoretical by knowing their average bet in time and then pitching it to them that way. That's probably going to be the best way to defining if that player's playing at that same level that they were when they became inactive at your place.
Now, what other questions do you have? That's a great one. So you just kind of look at what they were before and then just say, hey, are you still playing at that level? I guess, what kind of responses do you typically get when you ask them?
You get every responses, everything under the sun you get. The biggest reason is when we define these players as inactive, we need to know why they became inactive. Because they obviously they had a good trip. So we got to break down why they had a bad experience. Was it guest service, right? And, one of the casino employees, they had an interaction with them. It wasn't favorable for them. Is it that they lost? And they're like, your place doesn't play out. That's another one, right? But finding out why they became inactive is very important. And then you're able to basically break that down. I say this all the time. Casino hosts, player development, VIPs, we can't help if you win or lose. We just want you to have a good time. So if it is gaming related, you kind of say, unfortunately, it's the ups and downs of gambling. Love to get you back in here, give another shot. If it is something guest related, customer service oriented related, we want to talk about that problem, break it down, and definitely correct that for their next trip.
Got it. Okay. So you want to see why they stopped coming. You also want to gauge, like, if they are playing somewhere, how are they playing? Are they still playing like how you used to play, or they used to play? Now, do you generally trust what they say? Like, are they like, oh yeah, no, I'm still playing that level? Like, is there a part of you that worries like they're kind of lying to get a better offer, or do generally players are they generally honest about how they're playing?
Yeah, it's 50-50. It's just, generally speaking, gamblers have a tendency to, they don't lie, they over exaggerate, right? Their $500 loss was $2,500 to them, which is another phenomenon I've been seeing. People have been coming in and saying that their loss have been substantially more than what it is, and when you start dissecting what they're actually saying, they're putting the money back in. So they walk in, they put $100 in the machine, they hit a jackpot for $1,200, and then they're like, oh, I'm down $1,300 once they lost the jackpot money back. And it's like, no, unfortunately, you're only down $100. It's money out of pocket. So making sure that they understand what an actual loss is. I think that's important. But gamblers, they've been this way my whole career. They over-exaggerate, and it's just part of knowing it. But I would say 50% of the time, you could kind of trust what they're saying. It's great to know. It's great if you have a internal PD network of hosts in your ecosystem, your contacts to double check if you're able to do that. I mean, that obviously helps verify it. But 50% of the time, so knowing that they're going to, one up you, 50% of the time, you have to have an open relationship with your management to say, hey, I want to take a shot on this player. I trust them, but please note, along this process, we will get burnt. My management team that I'm currently with completely understands that and gives me the green light to go after these players and have my team go after these players. So just making sure that you will get burnt. It's part of going after an inactive business. The great thing about inactive business is that once you're able to get that player back in the door, your DM and your general casino marketing helps along that process with sending them offers so they get reintroduced into that player cycle, which then is both great for player development, for the casino, for marketing, and so on and so forth.
Got it. Okay, so you reach out to the players, you identify that, oh yeah, you trust that they're still playing the same level. Then it's, why did you stop coming? And then what are some, do you feel, you mentioned like a service issue on their last trip. Is that one of the most common ones? Or what are some issues where people just say like, oh yeah, this is why I stopped coming, but I would be willing to give you a shot? Like what's the generally successful track?
So unfortunately in the casino business, the problems that we discover are the ones we never hear about until we ask why would happen. So the players will have a bad experience, say with the front desk or with someone at the cage, they'll walk out. And until player development or VP says, hey, where are you at? That player isn't coming back. They quietly quit on us per se. So I do see that a lot. Another thing is that every player believes that the machines get tight at some point. And it's just not, it just doesn't happen, but, encouraging them that this is the ups and downs of gambling. This does happen from time to time. And gambling is entertainment, to double down on that. And generally speaking, when you reach out to these players and you have that conversation with them and you're warm and welcoming again, you're able to overcome a lot of these objectives.
Got it. Okay. So then it's you get them back, or I guess so you close the deal. Walk through that. So you identify the issue, you apologize for, oh man, that front desk guy, what, he's probably been fired by now. I'm sorry, like whatever you say. Sure. to let them vent. And then what's the next step? How do you get them to come back to your property?
So you want to give them a personalized custom offer. That personalized custom offer could be a couple different parts of it. It could be free slot player promo chips, a hotel room, or food and beverage. They're like the three main parts. To figure out how much free play or slot play, look at their last theoretical and their last play, and then it's going to be a percentage of that, right? I've seen inactive offers go up to 50% of their last inactive. I saw inactive offers go up to 10%. So it all depends on where kind of your comping matrix lies. So 10 to 50% to get them back in the door. And if it's not a free slot play or promo offer, maybe it's a food credit, which would fall in that same 10 to 50% reinvestment rate, or a hotel room. When it comes to the hotel room, there's a lot of controversy as what comp cost is on a hotel room. But if you can get a player back in the door and give them a suite versus a regular room, and that's all it takes, it's definitely worth it. Especially if it's a non-weekend, it's during the week, and someone wants a bigger suite and it's going to be open anyways. Absolutely give that player that suite to get them back in the door.
And then knowing that you probably, if you won them back, hey, they're trying this again for the first time in a year and a half, aside from the offers, what other steps are you taking to make sure that first trip back is a great experience for them?
Yeah, so before they come, call it 48 hours, 24 hours, make sure you follow up with them. Hey, Craig, I have you coming in 2 days. Just want to follow up with you. You're still coming in. Once you confirm that trip in, absolutely follow with them a couple hours, find out their ETA, and then meet them at the door. Whether it be a check-in, whether it just be coming into the casino, meet them at the door, shake their hand, welcome them, give them the business card, welcome them back, and then be accessible to them for that trip as much as possible.
Nice. Okay. And then they're on property. What do you like to do? Are there any tactics you do to get the next trip before they leave or right after they leave? Or what do you do when you got them? Hey, you got them in the door. That's the hardest part. How do you make sure they're coming back one more time and don't become inactive again?
Yep. So before they leave that property, definitely want to cut into them one last time and get that ask for that next trip. Hey, it'd be perfect if you have an event coming on in the next 90 days that they'd be interested in. For example, we have the Kentucky Derby coming up shortly. Hey, I don't know if you're interested. Love to invite you to a Kentucky Derby party. That's an easy one. So either invite them to an event or, as soon as they're done gambling for that trip, throw them a text, shoot them a call with some type of custom offer again. Hey, let me know the next time you're coming in. I have, X amount of dollars in free slot play, promo chips. I love the comp dinner, but definitely make contact with them before they leave property or as soon as they leave property to try to get that second trip in.
All right. And I'm assuming that's only if they play. If they show up and they don't play, it's like, hey, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah, it's, you can only do so much and you will get burnt. From what I've seen, that's like 10 to 15%. You could expect that to happen. So call 1 out of 10 players. It's going to happen, everybody. There's nothing we can do about it. Players will take advantage of the offer. But the majority of the players that you're bringing back definitely make up from that. So it's going to happen. Unfortunately, you could reach back out to them again. You could ask them what happened. And majority of that time, they're just going to be like, oh, listen, it's not for me. Or I just came in. Sometimes they're honest with you. You're like, oh, I just came in to play the free play. And you just cross them out, and that's that. You take it on the chin, you keep moving forward to the next call.
Nice. And is there so inactive, do you have like a ongoing, what's your tactic for like identifying the inactive players, or do you have a tactic for identifying people before they go inactive? Like, maybe people are normally coming twice a month and all of a sudden I'm not seeing them twice a month anymore. Like, how do you have a tactic for finding people before they hit that 13 months and then you're calling somebody? It's basically a cold call because it's been so long.
So it's very important that player development and marketing works with database marketing to put some type of report in place that's an identifier to when people start dropping off. So one of the easiest ways is tier points. On a monthly basis is probably the best. So year over year, quarter over quarter, month over month, when you see their tier points start dropping, one month they did, 100,000 tier points. On this month, they only did 40,000 tier points. The next month, they're probably going to be fading away completely. So you need to put some type of reporting in place that identifies it. We like to use tier points. I think that's very easy. But you could use it on monthly theoretical, monthly, ADW, something of that fashion. But you should definitely have something in place on a monthly or quarterly basis to identify this before they come inactive.
And I know we're coming up on time, but just curious, do you have something going the other way too? Like, man, this is a group of players whose tier points are jacking up every month. And what do you do when you find players like that?
Yep. So that same report. So if it could go in the other direction, descending, it should also go to ascending. So, you have a player that only did 10,000 tier points. And now this month he did 100,000. Make sure you're reaching out to that player, shaking, hey, just want to introduce myself. This is who I am. If you let me know if you need anything. But that tier point fluctuation report is a really good indicator of how players are playing. And tier points, is great because ours is based on coin in. So it has nothing to do with actual win or loss. It's how much they're actually playing, which is really important.
Well, Jim, as usual, you brought the goods today. Great knowledge for all of our casino marketing, player development professionals out there. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up this edition of the Casino Business Podcast?
No, thank you so much for this time. I love doing this. I think this is our third time doing it. Definitely have more content to push out there to everyone, but it's always my pleasure and we'll keep it going. Awesome.
Well, Jim, thank you so much. Everybody leave in the comments what you thought. And yeah, if I'm going to do a little plug. If you're a casino host listening, you got any players that want to hop on a cruise somewhere, hit us up, sales@urcompt.com. We've got relationships with all the cruise lines. We give white glove VIP service to all of your players. Just let us know where they want to go and we'll take care of them. Jim, thank you again. And look forward to doing this here pretty soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jim.